just for Dwayne really quickly, is this is the order in which the numbers were drawn, lowest to highest. So Dwayne, you'll begin. You can come to the podium and go through 3 minutes presentation, introduction by yourself, and Joel and then Shelta. Return to your seats, and we'll be asking the questions where you are seated. You'll have 90 seconds then from then on to be able to answer the questions. Gentleman in the front row right here will be able to help us keep time and keep us on track. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dwayne to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Dwayne Waldman. I'm a senior programmer at TVH Parts Company over here in Olathe. I've been working there for 7 years, and I've developed websites and applications, fixed computers. My wife is a bus driver for the first student bus service out here in Gardner. And I have 4 kids. I have 3 in the district. I have a 2nd grader whom I was at his play tonight, you heard, for Sunflower. I have a 3rd grader and I have a 6th grader, goes to Wheat Ridge. We've lived in Gardner for 13 years now. One of the things that I want to see the board do is have a better vision, or a more public vision for the future of where we're going to go. The high school has a capacity of 1,600 people, and right now we have Pioneer Ridge, it's almost at 800. We have Wheat Ridge, it's over 800. So in about 4 years, we're going to have full high school. That doesn't even include the intermodal. I'd like to see them actually build a plan that goes out about 10 years and says, you know, where we're going to build a new high school, whether we're going to build a new high school, and actually have that publicly available to be looked at from everyone. I would also like to see the board create policies that allows for the board policies and the district policies to be maintained on the website, and that it's easier access for the public to get to those documents as opposed to having to search through the website as it is now. You have to click through and try to find, you know, what you're looking for, and sometimes they disappear. I feel it is a responsibility of a board member to also inquire about information that is needed to make an informed and responsible decision. By asking questions, the board creates transparency, which allows people to also become more engaged. The board also shows that they're more engaged, not just along for the ride, by asking questions. And those questions then bring more questions, and pretty soon you got a good discussion going on, a lot more detail are able to come out about the issue at hand. We need to balance how we fund our education versus how we're paying our teachers and creating that. Thank you.
Please help me welcome Joel Riggs.
Good evening. My name is Joel Riggs. I have 3 daughters in the school district currently. I have a daughter at the high school, one at Pioneer Ridge Middle School, and one at Nike Elementary School. I am married for the last 21 years to a woman that tolerates a guy that does a lot of things in his life that keeps me busy. But she's a wonderful woman, and she supports me running for the board. So, a little background on me. I've been in engineering for the last 18 years. I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Kansas and a master's degree from the University of Kansas. So those of you that like KU, you will love my love for them as well. I've been involved in engineering and real estate development for the last 12, 15 years, and really been involved in a lot of different things related to my business. I am now the Director of Real Estate Development for Associated Wholesale Grocers. I build grocery stores all over the country, basically. But really what I've done up until the last 5 months was focus on infrastructure projects. I've worked for the school district, working on bond issuances and infrastructure for the district. I've been involved in a lot of different things. Johnson County Planning Commission for I think the last 10 or 11 years. Sat on the Pioneer Ridge Middle School Site Council and the High School Site Council for I think 4 or 5 years each. Been involved in a lot of different things, including economic development. I was the chair of the Johnson County EDC. But all of that said, people have asked me why I want to run. And I think my opinion is a little different than most people would think. Everything I've been doing and volunteer for the last 15 years of my career has been focused on me and my career. I think the school district and the board gives me an opportunity to run for something and being more involved in what my kids do. My daughters have been phenomenal, and I think what they have shown me is education, especially in a public education. I had my kids in private school and pulled them out and put them in public school for one reason, and that was to give them more of a broad-based approach of really what they wanted to learn and what I thought they needed to learn. And I don't have one agenda item whatsoever in running for this board. I think this district has done a phenomenal job educating my kids, and I think that they can do things even better down the road with the right people involved. So I really think what I want to do is help facilitate what has taken place and bring some of my expertise to the district as we move forward. And I think the biggest thing to look at from my standpoint is one of our biggest investments outside of teacher salaries is the infrastructure. And my education background in planning and in infrastructure, I think I can bring a perspective to the board that may not have had in the past, and if they have, hopefully I can add to that. So I thank you all for coming. I thank the Chamber for putting this on, and I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And our last candidate this evening, Shelton Collins. Please join me in welcoming Shelton to the podium.
Well, good evening. All right. Well, there are several reasons that I chose to run for school board. First, my love of this community. Second, my passion for quality schools. But as I thought about the matter, I had to ask myself, what could I personally bring to the table? First of all, my experience. You see, over the last 10 years, I have focused my career around education. Whether it was with La Petite Academy, Open Arms, or serving as a consultant working with schools across our nation, I spent a significant part of my career taking schools that were struggling for one reason or another and helping them develop high-quality programs with strong teams that were fiscally responsible. I've implemented policies and procedures that have a proven track record for success, and I'm hoping that those experiences will positively impact our board. Secondly, would have to be my education. You see, the more I worked with schools, the more I became convinced that schools could certainly have high quality and still be fiscally responsible. And it was with that passion that I shaped my academic career. I got a master's degree in business and one in education. And it was within that academic arena and within the workplace that I was able to test out strategies and create tools that would help schools thrive literally in all areas of operation. Well, now that I've addressed what I feel I can bring to the table, let me tell you what you can count on me to do. First of all, accessibility. You see, it's my firm conviction that as board members, we must be available to the community. Therefore, if I am elected to the board, I am committed to having a designated phone line where citizens can call me with questions or concerns. If I don't have an answer to a question, you can bank on it. I'm going to find one within a reasonable time, but make no mistake, I will be available to the citizens in which I serve. I will work very hard to make sure that the community is well informed and that its funding priorities and values are well represented. Given my experience, I'm going to be intentional about implementing policies and procedures that promote transparency and accountability, and if that requires a legislative audit, then I'll request it. I will help leverage every tax dollar so that the greatest return on investment can be realized, driving every possible dollar back into the classroom so that students and children benefit. Last but not least, I want Gardner Edgerton to be the district where teachers are attracted to come to our district and they are retained. And if we're not retaining them, you can count on me to find out why. So in closing, I would like to request your vote on April 2nd. With the combination of my work experience and education, but more than that, my passion for quality schools, I believe I'd make a great asset Thank you.
Okay. Julie, you'll go first, since Dwayne opened up. First question, and again, I'll read the questions 2 times. What is your understanding of the role of a school board, and more specifically, a school board member? What is your understanding of the role of a school board, and more specifically, a school board member?
I think, sorry about that. With any board, obviously the goal for the board, school board in particular, is to help set, administer policy. Looking at things that have been done in the past, looking at items that come up, and help guide that policy, whether it needs to be changed, added to, or amended, but most involved in looking at the financial aspects of the district, looking at the growth perspectives of the district, and how things come about from day-to-day operations into implementation. And I think specific for a member, it's being involved in the committees that the board has to become more educated about the issues that arise on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. But most importantly, I think, as my role at the board would be long-term planning and focusing on what takes place from a perspective of school growth and how that impacts the finances and how that impacts the district as a whole, where it is today and where it will be in the future.
Well, I believe the role of the board is very much what Joel has said. I believe that it's our responsibility to be financially responsible. I also believe that it's our responsibility to represent the desires of our community. Most importantly, we've got to do what's best for children and teachers. It's our job to create policies and procedures that cause the district to operate above reproach. When we're financially responsible, our teachers have everything they need to do their job. And the ultimate, at the end of the day, the greatest news when all this comes together is that the students get that quality education that we're all wanting.
I believe the purpose of the board is to create policy that is to be followed by and implemented by the superintendent. The board hires and contracts with the superintendent. They approve expenditures and make sure that everything is being paid and funded. But most importantly, I believe that their job there is to ask questions and make sure that they are getting the correct policy on the issues and getting to the bottom of whatever it is, and not just agreeing to everything that comes out of a committee or from one of the administrators. They need to make sure that they understand where that issue is and where they want that to go. They need to make decisions also that are based on public input and that are best for our teachers, our students, and the public in general with funding them.
Pass the mic down to your left to Shelton. Okay, question. Based on test scores, state and federal awards and recognitions, and the accomplishments of many student organizations and athletic teams, I think we all agree that USD 231 is a top quality district among the greater Kansas City metro area. What would you define is the biggest change or improvement you feel necessary to make if elected to the school board? Based on test scores, state and federal awards and recognitions, and the accomplishments of our many student organizations and athletic teams, I think we all agree that USD 231 is a top quality district among the greater Kansas City metro area. What would you define as the biggest change or improvement you feel necessary to make if elected to the school board?
Well,
Let's try that again. As an educator, it's important to me that teachers be given the ability to teach beyond the test score. With No Child Left Behind, we are left with challenges where students are taught, they fall through the gaps. putting a teacher in a position to teach with a differentiated approach allows us to reach all children. And let me just tell you, having 2 children, having gone through this district, one that's graduated and one that's got 2 years to go, I am blown away by this district. I love it. I love the involvement of the community. So I'd have to agree with the statement. We have an exceptional district, but I think that with those test scores, I'd like to just put out there, it's imperative that every student be given the opportunity to test. This is very important so that we can really measure where our students are falling, or excelling.
The biggest change that I think I can say, we love the district. We've been here for 13 years, like I said, and honestly, from the outside looking in, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think there's any huge changes that need to be made to the district as a whole. We've got great athletic teams, and the kids do great on assessments and everything like that. Where I'd like to see the bigger changes is public accessibility and the transparency of it. The public needs to be able to easily audit the school district and the school board and feel comfortable that they're getting the correct information. They shouldn't have to go through emails and core requests and everything else just to get information that's available to almost every other district around here. Every other district around us has their board policies out there, their budgets, how they spend all their money. And you can go to the website and click on it, it's right there, you don't even have to ask. Our district right now, you have to, if you want to look at the board policies, you have to go to the board office, sit down in there and look at the board policies. If you want to see the budget, you either got to do a request or ask someone real nicely. But it should all be out there in the public view and be auditable by them without having to jump through hoops.
Thank you. I don't know that I would change anything at all. I would probably help add to some things and make some minor tweaks, because nothing's perfect at all, and you can always make improvements. And I think that with the right leadership in place, you can build on things that have been taking place in the past. And I think it is important to note the test scores have been phenomenal. And I don't know about everybody in the audience's kids or the teachers, but I will tell you from my perspective, my kids have done absolutely wonderful in this district. And I do think it's because of the teachers. I do think because of the approach that the district takes, because of the administration. And I think that there are so many positives that I don't know that there's any big change that needs to be made. I would say that there'd be some tweaks or some improvements, but I don't know that outside of looking at where the next rounds of growth would be, I don't think that there would be anything I would change. I think this district has done great, at least from my perspective and my family.
Okay, next question. Not all students excel within the classroom, yet many find self-confidence and individual success in athletics or other extracurricular activities and organizations. How important do you feel extracurricular activities have become within the educational experience, and how would you best utilize your seat on the school board to impact these activities?
I love extracurricular activities. I love sports. I think that athletics, extracurricular activities, chess club, anything that you can do to help build confidence in a child is great. To me, it's almost equal with the education. And I don't want to say that I think they should be playing sports instead of being educated. I just think building a student as a whole person and going through athletics and extracurricular activities, myself as a kid, with my own children doing them, there is nothing that builds confidence more in a child than the athletics. So I would love to see them expanded. More and more opportunity that gets more and more of our students into doing more and more things after school and getting their minds and their bodies going is great, and I'm 100% behind it.
I'd say ditto, but that's not quite fair. I agree completely. I think that kids being involved in anything as part of their education is extremely important. I am a product of high school athletics, college athletics, and I grew up with a learning disability. I have dyslexia, and I got through college focusing on playing baseball so I could continue to go to college and getting through that. And I got through engineering school doing that. And I think that there's lots of kids out there with a lot of things that maybe athletics, maybe it's other different types of athletics. My daughters dance, and I know that they love that component of it, and I know how important that is to them as part of being a whole, well-rounded student athlete. Me personally, I think that there are some things that can be done to help add to that. I know that there's some things that you can't do because of time commitments with kids, and I know my girls in particular do a ton of things after school. And let's be honest, if they're doing something positive and focusing on improving themselves, they're not doing something negative. And I think that's just as important to realize as the teachers and the volunteers and the coaches are building kids' character, their discipline, their commitment, and that's all something that they're going to use in business and as they get into their life after college and high school. Thank you.
I agree. It's hard to build upon what both of them have said. Dwayne used a phrase I really like. It's about the whole child. Extracurricular activities really develop that whole child from instilling in them confidence or even drive to continue to keep their grade point average at a level that's appropriate. Absolutely, extracurricular activities are needed. Where I feel it's important to put our focus, though, is when we put all of our resources, financial especially, into these extracurricular activities at the expense of academics, meaning when our teachers don't have what they need to do their job, I think we've got to realign our priorities. Should we have extracurricular activities? Absolutely. Both my girls have been the beneficiary of the extracurricular activities of the district. I love them. Everything from debate to sports. I love it. But it's just important that we make sure teachers have everything